Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be doing a lot of different stuff. First off, I just recently painted this fuel tank on this motorcycle, so I got to get this all wet sanded out, and let me show you guys what it kind of looks like now. This is strictly straight out of the gun. This is a garage job. So this is the color that we went with on this bike. Came out pretty good. I did get a little bit of crud in there, but I could wet sand that out. That's the purpose of wet sanding, is to remove all these random specks that get in the paint. So I'll probably be starting out with, since this came out so smooth, I'll probably start with 1,000 grit, maybe 1,500, work my way up to 3,000, and then buff it out. If you guys want to see more like paint and stuff, I'm curious if you just want to see just strictly car stuff, or if you want to see auto body work mixed in, kind of give you tips and tricks on doing home jobs that kind of come out pretty good. I've been doing this for about almost 10 years now, just on the side. Move on to back onto the Camaro. I'm going to be removing the carburetor, doing the base plate and everything like that. Well, I already did it, but this is in the future, so past tense, I will be removing this base plate and fixing the issue of this leaking right here and causing a vacuum leak. And then I also had a fuel leak develop as well, so I replaced the line. There's some play in there right here. It's actually a good amount of play, and there's still some fuel leaking out of it now. I have to take all this stuff off, take off this shaft that goes through here, and remove all these valves, mark which ones go which way and which direction, all that stuff. And then I'll be able to ream this out and put some bushings in here. And then I'll also add in that blowout protection for the power valve. I think it goes right here for that, and replace the power valve as well. So let me get all that started right now. So I got these all ground out here, so now I'm able to remove them on the back side, and make sure these valves, or the butterflies, they go in the right direction. So mark them. I put 1, 2, 3, 4, and put arrows pointing to where I want to set them back down when I am ready to put these back down and adjust them and everything. So make sure you mark them. You probably can't see the marks there, but just so you know the order that they go. So the thing that comes with the kit's absolute garbage in this, for the shim that you normally use. I don't want to take it out again, but this thing right here, it was all stripped from the factory, and it wasn't installed like they said they would install it. So I had to measure 0.030 inches, and I'm just going to eyeball it with tape. So this should be from here to there is 0.030, and now I'm just going to use a drill press to drill it out, and then I could use these balls to put back in there for the relief valve. And we should be good to start working on the rest of the base plate after that. We don't have to have a drill press. I've seen people do this before without one. It just makes it easier when you do, and I have access to one, so I figured I would use it. So basically all you're paying for 20 bucks in this kit are some little couple BB size balls, some springs, and the drill bit, because everything else is not, well, mine at least didn't work for this. The Allen keyway that locks it down was stripped. So the way you want to do this, if you have a primary only, which I do for the power valve, I just have one on the front side. You're just going to be drilling that out just one time and using one of the, I think, 2 that they give you. They might even give you a third ball in this kit. So drill this out to the depth there. So if you have a second power valve on the back side, it would be right here. Since I only have one to do, I'm only going to do one. Let me turn this on. Don't have any clamps down here, so hopefully it doesn't go flying everywhere. I believe this end just goes up just like that, but let me check on the directions to be sure. Drilling, blow out all passages, install the spring tapered side facing up into the power valve passage. So this side does go just like you see there, goes up like that into the new hole that we drilled. So it goes just like that. Then you put one of your BBs that you got like that, and then one of these collars to hold it in place. So how I did it, I don't know if you saw that, I just hit it with this ball peen hammer, so I have a little bit of a curve to it. Held it up like this, and then just whacked it a couple times. It finally went down. So, and then you just test the play and to make sure the ball goes actually down, which it does. I'm using a screwdriver, so you can see the ball goes down. So when the power valve, if you need it to do what it needs to do, the power valve protection is there, so that goes down. Sucks it out of the bottom and relieves the pressure. So finally good on this part right here, and then now let's fix these two things with the shims. I decided to just reshim both of the shafts. So I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to do the easier looking one of the two first. I've never taken apart any of this linkage or anything before on a Holley double pumper, so just got to remember how it goes. I took a lot of pictures before I did this. I already ground down all the back sides of the screws. Marked each of the butterfly plates so you know which way to put them when you go back, because they're already bedded and seated as I mentioned previously. And take the shaft out and reshim this one and this one, especially this one right here. This is the one that's the loosest, but I'm going to do both of them. So let me do that now. Just do one at a time, put it back together. That way there's no issues down the road for it. So let me pop these off now. So after grinding that down, you can see these screws come out really pretty good. So pretty easy. Not reusing those. I got the ones from Home Depot I'll be putting in. Save that. Okay, now I'm ready to finally remove this back side of the shaft. Slide it right out. The shaft usually doesn't ever wear out. It's always the aluminum, so I'm not going to even bother miking that. But you could always use a tool, a caliper or whatever, the micrometer, to show the thickness of that and if it's worn. But I'm going to say it's going to be worn in here because that's where they sell the kits for. So let me show you what I got now on how to fix this. So this tool is from Carb Junkies. It says 3/8 Holley, Rochester. It can also be used as well. Comes with these little brass shims. So what you do, these all come off. I just put these on here for now to save them. What you do is you put this on the end of your drill on this side, clamp that down, and use this shaft here to go in and kind of guide it. So you'll be drilling like this. So I'm going to be doing this one first, right on that end. You want to put this in, just like that. And then you'll just use that and cut it that way. So now I just got to tap this, pushing in both sides. I did both sides now. Should be good to put this piece back together, and then I'll move on to this other one. About an hour later, finally got this all in. The shims are in there, nice and tight. It ended up being a little bit too tight, so I did just use some 800 grit and just rolled it around here a little bit until I got it moving good. So now it comes in and out, just like it should. And I was trying to get away not doing this one, but after looking at this side more, you can even hear it. Maybe. That's the actual play in this one. So unfortunately I got to do this one too. This one is the only good one out of the three that I don't need to shim. So I'll pull this other one apart. This is the primary side now. Pull this one apart and shim that one, and hopefully we'll be good to put everything back together and try to fire up the car and see if that made any difference whatsoever. So let me do that now. I'm not going to bore you guys with doing this one again. Just going to ream it out with the same procedure as I did the first one, and tap the other one, or the brass shim in there, put it back together, and put the carb all together. Meet you guys back underneath the hood when I am ready to try to fire this thing up and see if what has changed. So as you guys could probably hear on video, it's running a lot smoother. Still not perfect after, messing with the carburetor base plate, fixing the power valve, and adding the blowout protection. It is leaking fuel pretty bad. So I'm gonna replace what is gonna be leaking from this cheap line, this double line, and actually kink the line trying to tighten it. So I'm just gonna take these out and replace it with this new Summit Racing line. I'm curious to see what the fuel pressure is running, because Holley's, and correct me if I'm wrong, they should be running about 6, maybe a little bit less than that, 5 to 6. So I just want to see what the fuel pressure is running. I'm going to put that on the line as well. And try not to use any sealant of any kind, but except for on these. I know these are probably gonna leak again. I'm not gonna mess around with it, so I'm just gonna put this. I know a lot of people don't like to use stuff, but this aviation forma gasket just on the ends where it connects to the double pumper itself. I never use this stuff. It actually smells like Indian head shellac, if you ever heard of that stuff. And it looks like that too with the brown kind of paste, but this doesn't solidify completely, so it should be good for fuel lines. It resists fuel as well. So next step after that, I'm replacing the brake booster hose. For some reason, I don't know why I had such a hard time finding brake booster hose. It's not normal vacuum line, it's actual brake booster hose. This is 11-30 seconds, I think. Finally found that on Amazon, and I think that is one of the culprits of a possible vacuum leak. It's cracked right here, so I'm going to replace that. And who knows, they tapped this off. This is probably for a PCV at one point. They tapped that off. Don't have a PCV valve. Be adding one of those later on down the road as well. So replace that line, get rid of hopefully another potential source of a vacuum leak, and connect the fuel line back all up and see how that runs. And on the gauge, I don't know if you can see that when I was working on the car, but this vacuum gauge, that when I was tuning it, it actually tells you what could be wrong on it. So when I was revving it and stuff, sometimes it would hover around this area of 10 to 20. And it says either late valve timing or leak at the intake manifold or heat riser. So the heat riser, I'm guessing they mean on the exhaust manifolds, the little flapper valve there. And I know I definitely have a huge exhaust leak on both sides of the headers, so I'm going to fix that before I adjust the valves. So I'm just trying to correct one thing at a time and see how it changes the car. So far, everything I do is helping the car little by little, so I'm hoping this helps out a lot when I start to add all these little details in it. So let me do that now, add everything, put the fuel gauge on, see what it's running like. Got these all connected up, all tightened up, anodized material's still on there, because as you know, once you put a wrench on there, usually it peels off. The anodized coating on that isn't very durable, but I wrapped it with some electrical tape, put a wrench on it, tightened it, took the tape off. I did end up removing the filters in here, so didn't like the way these were fitting with the filters, so I'm just going to do an inline filter eventually, or a better high flow one, I should say. I did connect this. This is the only gripe that I have about this system, is that it's right in the way of, for a small block anyway, Chevy, right in the way of this heater hose right here. So the flow is still good, it's kinked just a hair, but I got to figure out something to reroute this just a little bit around this heater hose. Hopefully I don't have any leaks. I got the fuel gauge, the pressure gauge all set up. This is kind of the look I want to go for, this black look, so I figured I'd do it now, and when, you know, later down the road when I'm detailing and pulling the engine to paint it and everything and go through it a little bit more, I'll have all the parts already that I don't have to double up and spend even more money than I already am. not leaking anywhere here. I don't know what, it has to be some stupid valve issue or something. At this point, I'm just gonna adjust the valves, go from there, stick a screw around with everything else. I don't think an exhaust leak is gonna cause that much of a rough idle. It's weird that it runs good sometimes, and then all of a sudden, when I lock the distributor down, it's completely different. So that the next time I come to start it, like a couple days after. So that leads me to believe that there's not going to be a consistent tune on this. I think the next thing is the valves, because they're just not adjusted, and you know, their opening then takes an exhaust all weird. So I think that that's why it's happening. I'm having a super hard time nailing down a tune on this car and staying consistent, is because those rocker arms are loose where they shouldn't be, and or tight where they shouldn't be. So that is going to do it this week. Sorry if I don't seem very pumped up. I'm just beyond tired this week, starting this new job and just getting kind of everything back on my sleep schedule. But next week, wheels. After that, revisiting the engine. Let me know in the comment section below what you think I should do with this carburetor, if I should still keep it, or if I should get a new carburetor, or if I should go fuel injection, was what I'm kind of leaning towards. Again, I appreciate everyone that's recently subscribed to me. We're almost at 11,000 subscribers, so that is beyond crazy. You know, I'm pretty excited about that. Every night I'm going home, checking. Sorry if I can't respond to everyone's comments. I've just been super busy lately with everything, doing random side jobs, like the motorcycle tank, going to work, working 40, 50 hours a week now with a new job, trying to figure out everything in this past week. So been pretty tired, pretty busy, but we'll get this car running eventually. As always, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one.